Our topic in this video is making lemon out of lemonade. If life throws you lemon, what do? You just continue to stare at it, or you change it to lemonade? That is the issue we have to discuss this evening. When you have lemon, make lemonade out of it. In other words, if life throws you bad times, make something good out of it. You don't just have to sit down and continue to quarrel or continue to fight life. Life is not fair to anybody. The very poor ones will quarrel and fight and curse and abuse when they are thrown the short end of the stick. But the reasonable and responsible ones will think outside the box and see how they can make the best use of what life has thrown them. They will sit down, think outside the box, ask questions, and see how they can make use of the good things inside the bad thing which life has thrown at them. Because one thing is clear, experts have held the opinion that for everything that is bad that life throws at you, if you look at those bad things very well, inside those bad things, you will see something good which you can extract and use for the benefit of yourself and humanity. But because people don't often, have the patience to sit down or, have the patience to sit down and really look properly at, life, they will just abandon it. They will just not do nothing. But that's a poor way of thinking. But a very good way of thinking, or thinkers who think in a very good manner, will sit down and investigate what life has thrown them and see how they can use what is there to get what they want. I will give you an example from a personal experience. A woman, the husband, and the children live somewhere in northern Nigeria before the outbreak of the civil war in that country. The very destructive civil war that claimed many, many lives. Before the war started proper, they were forced to relocate to the southern part of their hometown in the southern part of the country. They thought things were going to be easy there. Unfortunately, the war, met them in their own backyard. But before the war started there, the husbands went to do one or two things in the capital city, Lagos. While he was there, the opposing troops overran the town where the wife and the children were staying, and he could not come back immediately. Things became very tough because the woman had to cater for the 6 children, and if he does not cater for them, then they may have to starve. Like every other person in the town, we are starving. So the woman put on her thinking cap and thought of what to do to save the situation. So he thought that the next best thing to do was to sell food. She knew that in the distance, where the war was really raging, that people will be hungry there, people will want to eat. So he decided to start supplying them with cooked food. He cooks, put in a bowl, carries on her head with some of the children, and go to that area where the war was really at its heights. He will sell the food, come back and use the money so made to take care of the children. And throughout the period when this war lasted, the children did not feel the brunt of the war. They did not go hungry. While many other people who could not, do something for themselves were going hungry, she was busy taking care of her children. That is what we are saying about turning your lemon into lemonade. All you have to do is to sit down and do proper thinking and see how you can come up with an idea that will benefit you. But most people will not do that. Rather, they will grumble and grumble and grumble. Experts have told us that one beautiful thing about the average human being is his ability to make the best out of a bad situation. Every human being is given that power. Every human being is given that natural ability. That ability to change the bad times of life into something good. And it is also said that if you look into every problem very well, or let me put it this way, that every problem comes with something good. It's only left for you to look into that problem very well and see how you can extract that good thing to take for the benefit of you and the rest of humanity. Unfortunately, not everybody does that. Not many people do that. A lot of us just grumble and grumble without thinking of how to take care of the situation. It is a case of two men looking outside the window, two men who were in a prison cell, looking outside the window. One will find opportunity, one will see only opportunities and nothing else, while the other one will be seeing problems. So those are two people looking at life from two different perspectives. There is no way you can get two people looking at life the same way. Obviously, like they said here, one must see problem, the other may just be seeing opportunities all over the place. That is what that woman did. She saw opportunities and used them. I knew about this woman because she was my mom. And we were the little children she was, that were going with her to that battlefront to sell food by which we were able to survive those hard times. Most parts of the world are going through economic problems, economic turmoils. You hear of people demonstrating here and there, people protesting here and there because the times are hard. But even in these hard times, there are still some people who are able to, go through those hard times without, problem. These are people that have turned their lemon into lemonade. They have turned the bitter part of life into sweet parts. Like that woman did. The woman I just mentioned earlier on. Just what she did. Even as we speak, some people tend to believe that one must attend a formal school before one can change their lemons into lemonade. That's not so. That's not how life works. It is possible for you not to attend school or to be a dropout and still better your own life. We have a number of instances where such things have happened. I know of a man, a Nigerian entrepreneur, whose name is Cosmos Maduka. He is the chairman and CEO, chief executive officer of Coscaris Group. This man barely attended, a higher institution. But by dint of hard work, he was able to turn poverty into richness. At the age of 7 or thereabouts, he lost his dad. He was left with only his mother, who was catering for them. So he had to sell things to enable him support the mother at a very tender age. Again, by dint of hard work, he started a formal business at the age of 17 with just 3,000 naira. He started to do automobile repairs, servicing, with just 300 naira. I beg your pardon. He continued to do that and was turning things around. He eventually made so much out of that business, and as at last year 2024, he and the business were worth about $500 million, just because he put in efforts. He put on his thinking cap, looked into the bad times, discovered the good in them, and used those goods for the benefit of himself and humanity. We also have some other persons who did the same thing. The likes of Henry Ford. Henry Ford barely attended school. But we know Ford today because he was the forerunner or the inventor of, the Ford vehicle back in America, back in the days. He was the one that invented that vehicle that enabled the average American family to afford, vehicles, to afford cars. Today, you can see the Ford vehicle all over the place just because of the hard work and tenacity of one man called Henry Ford. We also have the likes of Edison, Thomas Edison. You would have heard his name and what he has done to humanity. Without him, maybe we wouldn't have been using the incandescent light today. He was said to have tried about, 1,000 or 10,000 times before he could make perfect the incandescent light. But when he was asked what difficulties he went through, how many times did he try before he got here, before he invented the electric bulb, he said that he did not really fail. Now what happened was that he found out many ways by which you may not be able to invent the electric bulb. So these are men, or these are people who turned their lemon into lemonade. All it takes is hard work and perseverance. You can do it, I can do it. It's just that some of us don't have the patience to go through life. But if you are patient enough, you can do it, because the average human being is said to have that capacity in him to wade through tough times and change lemons into lemonade. Thank you for listening.